only has PC gaming been on the decline over the past several years.
Over a billion Steam users. More PC gamers in China than there are American citizens. It's on the decline.
Over the past year alone, I've seen a lot of very negative new trends when it comes to the future of PC gaming.
I think that's just gaming as a whole, but gaming's in a really weird place right now. With all the live services, the crazy microtransactions, all the stuff happening with loot boxes and the lawsuits and the legal stuff. That's an everywhere thing. There's no big gaming problem specific to PC gaming. I guess you could argue the Epic Games Store shenanigans, but I mean, that's gonna pass. Probably. Hopefully. But even then, that's just one element. No, PC gaming is not on the decline.
In general, it's kind of amazing how indie games, which used to have their sort of bastion on services like Steam, are sort of primarily gaining notoriety and popularity on platforms like the Nintendo Switch.
the, the Nintendo Switch does not have better indie game reputations or marketplaces than Steam or the PC market as a whole. What are you saying?
How services like the Epic Game Store, the Amber Ghost Squad are like kind of destroying the PC gaming market by stealing away titles from Steam and dividing the user base and doing all of these shady, underhanded things to try and become relevant.
Well, like I said, the Epic Games Store is pretty lame, and I've made a whole bunch of videos about that if you want my full opinions on the Epic Games Store and you might be new here. But no, the Epic Games Store is not in the grand scheme of things, it's not hurting PC gaming that much. Because the pushback on it has been incredible. If the pushback against the Epic Games Store hadn't been so dramatic, then yeah, it probably would have been a bigger problem. Look, the Epic Games Store is going to crash and burn. The only reason it hasn't crashed and burned yet is because Epic has a fuck ton of money to burn through. But they're burning it.
Steam, in having competition, is in essence kind of taking away the value of PC gaming.
Not at all. There has always been competition. There will always be competition. There will always be multiple launchers, multiple storefronts. That's part of why PC gaming is so great. No.
Mods are increasingly becoming paid. Bethesda in particular is pushing this angle of expecting users to pay for mods.
All right, full stop. Mods as a whole are not increasingly becoming paid, first of all. Second of all, paid mods are on console as well from Bethesda, but you're not going to talk about that. Third of all, consoles barely even have mods. Like, period. Even if all of the mods on the PC were paid, even if that was a reality, that's still an advantage for the PC because it's something that consoles don't have. So,
paid mods, which is going to kill the long-term appeal, market, replayability of all of their titles, right? Like,
no, actually, no. Not all games have mods. Not all moddable game players play with mods. I mean, look at Minecraft. Minecraft is blowing up again. It's actually kind of weird how Minecraft's having such a big resurgence. But one of the reasons why that game is so big is because of mods. What are you on about? Do you know anything about this? Should you really be making this video?
The Elder Scrolls in particular. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim pretty much entirely relies on mods to continue to be playable.
This guy's literally recording his video about how much he hates the PC while fiddling with a Nintendo Switch game box. Carry on.
Essentially, what we're seeing here, graphics. Graphics are getting diminishing returns.
Graphics are getting diminishing returns.
There is no value in buying a gaming PC, building a gaming PC, getting it the best you can be, only for it to look pretty much the exact same as the console equivalents.
If you build a PC that looks the same as a console equivalent, you probably didn't spend very much money. You can spend $400-500 and have a PC that is significantly better looking than a console. I can tell you from experience. And anyone who knows anything about PC gaming will know this.
Piracy. This is the big one. PC gamers always use piracy and emulation to justify their use of it. Like,
All right, I'm going to play that whole sentence again, but instead of the words piracy and emulation, I'm going to replace it with used games and console gaming. Ready? Used games.
this is the big one.
Console gaming.
Always use
used games
to justify their use of it. Like,
that's pretty similar, huh? Pretty similar. But what if I told you someone who pirates a game is far more likely to buy a proper copy later than someone who buys a used copy of a game on the console? What if I told you that a lot of companies really don't even care about emulation because emulation is not a lost sale? There's no reason for companies to go after PS2 and GameCube emulators because they're not losing sales by people emulating those old games. Because those games aren't in production anymore. They're not making a profit off of those games, so why not let them be emulated? To preserve those games and preserve their legacy and get word out about the future of those franchises people might be emulating, I always point to Super Smash Bros. Melee. That game came out in 2001, has not been in production for over a decade. It's almost impossible to find a new, unopened copy of Melee that will not cost you half of your house. But it's still one of the biggest fighting game esports in the world because of emulation. People emulate it and play it online to keep the legacy alive, to keep the esports scene alive, to keep the competitive scene alive. And Nintendo allows that because it keeps the hype of Smash alive. You see how that works?
I see this all the time whenever I bring up like how good Breath of the Wild is. I can emulate that on my PC. No, you can't.
Yes, I can. I can.
Stop lying.
I'm not lying. I can. I can emulate Breath of the Wild on PC, and it looks way better than on the consoles. I mean, you could have just Googled this.
You see this all the time, right? Where you have these people who will try to devalue consoles by making up bullshit stories about how they can play all the same games consoles do.
That's not a bullshit story. That's just true. Probably 99% of games on the console can be played on the PC in one way or another. Yes.
But as time goes on, that's becoming less and less true.
Actually, it's becoming more and more true because we're seeing a lot of big game publishers move away from console exclusivity. Microsoft doesn't have Xbox exclusives at all anymore. Sony is increasing the support for PS Now. It's only a matter of time till they go Microsoft's route and start putting their shit on PC alongside the consoles. Or they start doing full PC ports as opposed to the weird streaming thing that PS Now is. Nintendo is, they're probably not going to be putting their stuff on PC anytime soon. But that's what emulators are for. As time goes on, consoles are going to become less and less relevant.
Right? Like, as time goes on, we're seeing more and more situations like the Red Dead situation, where
Red Dead is coming to PC. So
titles are just simply not playable on PC. Titles don't get released on PC.
I mean, it's coming to PC. It's all but confirmed to come to PC. Again, you could have Googled this, but you didn't. I can see your hands are kind of full.
As time goes on, more and more games are becoming Nintendo Switch exclusive.
No, you don't get it. As time goes on, more games become playable on the PC through ports and through stream services and through emulation. Come on, bud. You gotta keep up with this.
And as a result, there's Astral Chain isn't coming to PC.
Oh boy, one game.
Fire Emblem Three Houses isn't coming to PC.
Oh boy, another one game.
Mario Odyssey is not coming to PC. Like,
Odyssey, I'm pretty sure is actually playable through emulators. So I could be wrong, but if it's not playable now, it will be in the future.
It's amazing to me how people like say Black Bond can make videos talking about how like great Xenoblade Chronicles is if you go through all these steps of like pirating the game and implementing mods and playing it on your PC instead of playing it on the actual hardware.
Well, I'm no defender of Black Bond. I actually kind of really don't like him. But yeah, he's right. I don't understand the logic here. Playing a game on base hardware versus playing the game on superior hardware with mods, you're not allowed to make that comparison? You're not allowed to talk about that? Why? You're not giving reasons why. You're just saying you don't like it, but you're not saying why. You're saying PC gaming's dying, but you're not saying why.
Right? Like, it's kind of amazing. Instead of just making it accessible, just enjoying the game, they have to go through all of this nonsense padding.
Well, I mean, yeah, if we want to play a game that's not officially on the PC, we do kind of have to jump through some hoops. But those hoops are worth it because then we get to play the game at far better performance than the base system. So, it kind of balances out. I'm no fan of piracy, but it should also be noted that a lot of PC gamers will buy the proper copy and then emulate it. Obviously not all of them, but it should be noted that a lot of people do. Because PC gamers have principles. Are you familiar with that word, principles? A lot of PC gamers will buy a proper copy of a game if they emulate it, just out of support for the developers. And again, I'm not saying everyone does this, but, you know, to imply that PC gamers are just pirating, it's just not true. Every game that I've ever emulated, I own a proper copy of, even if I don't own the platform that it came out on, just out of principle and support for the devs.
Right? Just to get not even like a superior experience, like something that's just pretty much the exact same at this point.
The PC can play Breath of the Wild at 4K 60 FPS. Tell me with a straight face that that is the same.
It's becoming ridiculous. And as time goes on, right, we are going to reach the Google Stadia, right? Where
Google Stadia.
Eventually, we are going to reach the point where that's practical. Now,
eventually, maybe. Like 10, 20 years, maybe. The tech is just not there yet. And that's part of the reason why the Google Stadia is just flopping hard. It's just not logistical right now to be replacing your gaming systems and your PCs with the Stadia.
Eventually. Like, that's not going to happen anytime soon, right? Like, I'm critical of Google Stadia as well, right? Like, I'm very, very much critical of Google Stadia, but...
Yeah, but, I mean, knowing you, your reasons are probably not accurate. You know, just judging off of what I know about you.
As time goes on, right? As time goes on more and more, like, the power of your hardware is going to matter less and less.
This is arguably true. Arguably true, but not in the way that he thinks. He's saying this because he thinks that consoles are going to give the equal experience of PCs, which is obviously not true. I'm arguing that maybe you might be onto something, because eventually we're going to reach a point with, you know, PC graphics cards and stuff where it's gonna kind of like stagger a bit, you know? Kind of like how it did. After the GTX 10 series came out, especially the 1080 Ti, it's been a while since a graphics card came out that really blew that out of the water. And I mean, you could even argue that the 20 series is like on par or maybe a little better than the 1080 Ti, but if you don't care about ray tracing, then the 1080 Ti is, you know what I'm saying here, you know. So arguably you have a point here, but it's also not the point you were trying to make. So what am I doing?
Right, like as time goes on, we're sort of seeing this with the Switch already, but as time goes on and on and on, there isn't going to be any value to having additional power towards in your hardware, because...
You know what? I take it back. That was a stupid point.
More power doesn't necessarily equate to better games.
Yeah, that's why nobody says that. Nobody thinks better hardware immediately makes better games. However, we do think, and we do know, that better hardware will make a game better. There's a difference there. Better hardware doesn't make a game good, but better hardware will make a good game even better because of better performance and mods and all of that, you know? You feel me? Probably not.
As anyone who's, you know, who knew the Wii was superior to its competition could tell you. Anyone who could tell...
Wait. The Wii was not superior to the competition. The Wii was... No. The
Wii U or the 3DS was better than the competition, right?
The 3DS didn't really have competition. Let's be real here. The reason why Nintendo dominates the handheld market is because it's basically a captive market at this point.
You don't need the Game Boy. Like, you don't need power to make a compelling piece of hardware.
Well, absolutely you don't. Nobody's saying your hardware needs to be super powerful in order for people to like it. But that's why the whole PC debate is so much more prominent now than it used to be. Because now we're reaching a point in gaming where consoles just can't keep up. You compare console gameplay of any multi-platform game, any modern multi-platform game, you compare console gameplay to PC gameplay, it's laughable. That's why the debate is happening so much more now. It's always been a debate, but now it's much more prominent just because of, honestly, how embarrassing the 8th generation of consoles were in terms of technical performance. And the thing is, the 8th console gen didn't really have a lot of killer games to make up for it. PS4 exclusives. I don't like cinematic third-person action games with stealth mechanics. Fucking sue me.
Despite what like Sony and Microsoft have tried to train their audience into thinking, and what the PC audience always tries to push. Oh, I can always upgrade my PC. I can always make my graphics look better. It just
What's incorrect about that?
what we are seeing here is that we are constantly seeing this never-ending decline of PC gaming, right? Like,
again, you haven't given me a reason why PC gaming is declining. You know, some stats or charts might be nice. Like this one. Wait, that isn't helpful for you. Sorry.
WoW is going downhill. Blizzard as a whole is going downhill.
WoW is going downhill. What? WoW has been growing like crazy. Are you kidding me? WoW has made a pretty big comeback.
We're seeing what else is there?
Yeah, you don't even know. You can't. You're making these claims, and then you're like, shit, I gotta come up with reasons. Fuck, what are they?
There's nothing really on PC that you can't get on consoles.
No. Switch. You got the sentence backwards. There's really nothing on consoles that you can't get on PCs. I can tell you tons of things you can get on a PC, but not on a console. I think it might hurt your brain.
And consoles have more. Like, consoles have, like, the better games. They have... Well, Nintendo consoles have the better games, I should say. You have better features. You have...
Like what? Give examples. Tell me good games on consoles that I can't run on the PC. Tell me services and features that are on the consoles and not the PC. Because I'm coming up empty. I legitimately am trying to find some. I can't come up with any. Everything on the consoles is either on the PC as it is, or it's on the PC and better.
An actual upgrade to hardware. You have improved control schemes. Like,
you do not have upgradable hardware on the consoles. Let's shut this down right now, all right? There is not upgradable hardware on the consoles. There are just different models of the consoles. Huge difference.
Something like ARMS would never be made on PC, right? Like, because it utilizes the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con.
Oh, darn. PC doesn't have ARMS. Damn it.
Right? Like, stuff like Star Fox Zero, stuff like that. Like, experimental stuff that's different than what you see from the general PC gaming crowd, right? Like,
are you talking about motion control games? Because you realize, like, the whole reason the VR market exists is because of the PC. There are absolutely motion-controlled games on PC and experimental games on PC. There's way more experimental games on PC. Did you do any research at all here?
It's I think it's inevitable at this point that PC gaming is going to lose a lot of traction. Like, it's still going to have a market. Like, I imagine among like older people who don't necessarily like want to play a lot of games and like have a PC for work and kind of want to like, you know, play Civ or something like that. Like, I remember like Ty Beard, like, you know, Vic Mignogna's lawyer. He was talking about like how he's really into Civ 6. It's like pretty much the only game he plays. And like, of course, obviously not a gamer, but like he plays on PC. That's a PC gamer.
A PC gamer is someone who's not a gamer but plays on PC. What?
Right? Like someone who maybe plays a couple of games in a lifetime, you know, just because it appeals to him and, you know, just to unwind, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but...
Yeah, of course there's nothing wrong with that. This is a really weird anecdote to bring up in this context.
That is the future of PC gaming, is that this is the 100 million. This is the Steam audience.
Okay, so full stop. Let's take your guy that you were talking about, the guy who doesn't really play games, but he really likes Civ 6. What if you gave him a console? What would he play then, if he likes strategy games?
This is what most people playing PC are going to be in the future. Not super dedicated hardcore players, but just like people who don't necessarily want to invest in a console.
So PC gamers are not the hardcore gamers. Okay. If you want to talk about hardcore gamers, let's take a look at esports. How many major esports are played on consoles instead of PC? You got Call of Duty, I guess, but even that's rumored to be changing next season with Modern Warfare. You got the Smash games, but even Melee tournaments are starting to be run on PCs through emulators instead of actual GameCubes. Outside of Nintendo, what esports are run on consoles instead of the PC? I can think of a couple fighting games. You know, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, I think, are run on console. But you look at all the big ones. All the big esports are on PC. And that's why the market for competitive games on PC is massive. If you want to talk about hardcore gamers, console versus PC, it is hilariously one-sided in the PC's favor.
People who like own a PC already for work and will play games that are like compatible with that PC. So
okay, so can you explain to me then where all these PC gamers are coming from? Can you explain to me how the biggest competitive games in the world are on PC? If PC gamers aren't hardcore?
with that in mind, I think as time goes on, right, like as the EGS gains traction, as it takes more and more exclusives from Steam, as Steam becomes more and more undesirable, as Valve becomes more and more complacent,
Steam becomes less desirable. You don't know anything about what's going on.
as like, you know, the Switch continues to dominate.
Is the Switch dominating, really? I mean, yeah, a lot of people like it, but it's kind of like what I said about the Nintendo's handhelds. It's kind of a captive audience. It's not really even competition at this point. Like, really, who is Nintendo competing with? That's why when you hear about the mainstream console competition, nobody even really talks about the Switch. If you want Nintendo games, yeah, you go to Nintendo. But if you want multi-plats and more hardcore games, you go to a console or a PC. That's kind of just the way it is.
Continues to like be the definitive platform for like pretty much every genre of games imaginable, right? As this continues, we are going to see PC increasingly become more and more undesirable.
Why, though? We're 8 minutes into your video. You haven't given an actual reason why. You're just saying stuff with no real reasoning.
This is very much a platform that has no future. It really only remains relevant because of Valve, right? And Half-Life 2, it sort of like extended the lifespan.
You know, I recorded like a minute or two just responding to that sentence, but honestly, I feel like I'm just done. There's still a minute left of his video. I don't know if I can even get through it at this point. This is just baseless. There's only so long I can talk about these things.
Of the PC. What we're going to see is that like the PS4 and the Xbox One are basically going to replace the PC gaming.
The PS4 and the Xbox One are going to replace PC gaming. Never mind the fact that they're literally going to be irrelevant in like a year and a half when the new consoles come out.
Like they're going to try and create this business model where like those consoles can like update themselves and like PS4 Pro where you upgrade them periodically over a period of time.
What you're describing is consoles catching up to PCs while the PC is still moving forward and still in the lead and will always be in the lead. I've said this in so many videos, but the reason why the PC is always going to be superior to the consoles is because the PC is constantly evolving, always changing, always improving, whereas the consoles are stagnant for years at a time. And then when it comes time for a console to upgrade, they have to be upgraded in a way that's cheap enough to be mass produced. That's why the consoles will never actually catch up to the PCs in terms of performance. This really, it's not rocket science. Like, just look. Open your eyeballs and look.
Right. They're going to try to do that. Like, that is going to sort of, they are going to compete with PC gaming.
Well, yeah, they've been competing with PC gaming. It's just they're getting stomped. They're getting stomped to the point that they're giving in. Microsoft has completely given in to PC gaming, and it's only a matter of time until Sony does the same.
And I think as time goes on, it's going to become more and more apparent that like the benefits to PC gaming is losing all of all of its appeal.
How? How is it losing all the appeal? Better performance, better graphics, way more games, way more exclusives, free online, better services, an open marketplace, a huge indie marketplace, mods. So many mods. You can't even count all the mods. Better peripheral support, better backwards compatibility. You got emulation. What is it that the PC doesn't have?
Like, you don't have mods anymore. You won't have piracy anymore. You won't have like your high-end visuals anymore. Like, there is nothing on PC that you cannot get better with more functionality, more features, more quality than on Nintendo Switch.
I'm just gonna play that last sentence one more time.
There is nothing on PC that you cannot get better with more functionality, more features, more quality than on Nintendo Switch.
I'm just I'm I'm not even gonna make a closing statement. This is just it's I swear to God, he's doing it on purpose. He has to be doing it on purpose at this point. I'm done. I'm done. I can't. I'm not even I'm done. I'm done. I gotta go. Bye.